The forgotten prophecy, what the Bible and Nostradamus said. For centuries, humanity has been obsessed with knowing the future. Kings sought prophets, scholars studied the stars, and people looked for signs, anything to get a glimpse of what was coming. Nostradamus, one of the most famous seers of all time, left behind cryptic writings that many believe predicted major world events. On the other hand, the Bible has long been warning of the end times, filled with wars, disasters, and celestial signs. But here's the real question. Could there be a connection between the two? And if there is, why is no one talking about the warnings for 2025? Skeptics often brush off Nostradamus' prophecies as vague coincidences, but some of his predictions are eerily accurate. He spoke of global upheaval, natural catastrophes, and political turmoil, all themes echoed in biblical prophecy. In Matthew 24:6-8, Jesus himself warned, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places." Sound familiar? Could 2025 be a pivotal year when these ancient warnings finally converge into something undeniable? Think back to 2020. A global pandemic changed life overnight. Entire cities shut down, economies crumbled, and fear ruled the airwaves. Nostradamus spoke of a plague that would shake the world, and the book of Revelation warns of pestilences in the last days. Now, fast forward to 2025. Are we on the edge of something even bigger? If we connect the dots, it becomes clear. The world is shifting in ways we've never seen before. Climate disasters are accelerating. Wars are brewing between superpowers. Financial systems are teetering on the brink of collapse. Nostradamus saw this coming, and so did the Bible. Yet people go about their lives, unaware or unwilling to see the signs. Why? Is it denial? Or is there a deeper force keeping these warnings hidden? But here's the part that no one talks about. The Bible doesn't just predict disaster. It tells us how to prepare. In times of crisis, faith isn't just an idea, it's a weapon. Prayer, fasting, and divine connection aren't outdated rituals. They're survival tools. Many are searching for ways to make money, create passive income, and secure their future. But what if true security isn't just financial? What if the real key to navigating what's coming is spiritual wisdom? If Nostradamus and the Bible were right about so many past events, why would we ignore what they're saying about the future? 2025 is coming fast, and the question is, will you be ready? Let me know in the comments. Do you believe the world is heading towards something big, or is this all just paranoia? Nostradamus and his visions for the future. For centuries, Nostradamus has been both praised and dismissed. Some call him a genius, others a fraud. But the truth? His predictions have lined up with history in ways that are hard to ignore. The French Revolution, the rise of Hitler, 9/11, all events that his cryptic quatrains seem to foresee. But what about 2025? Did he leave behind a warning we've all overlooked? One of his most chilling verses describes fire falling from the sky, a great war stirring, and the fall of powerful leaders. Sounds eerily familiar, doesn't it? We're seeing global tensions rising, threats of nuclear conflict, and unstable world governments. And here's where it gets even more disturbing. Nostradamus predicted that a great famine would follow these conflicts, something that Revelation 6:6 also warns about. A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, but do not harm the oil and the wine. In other words, skyrocketing inflation, food shortages, and a widening gap between the rich and the poor. But let's not stop there. Nostradamus also hinted at a great collapse of gold and silver, a possible reference to a global economic crash. Think about it. Banks are failing. Digital currencies are rising. The entire financial system is shifting towards something we don't fully understand yet. Could 2025 be the year where traditional money loses its value completely? Here's the question no one is asking. If Nostradamus saw this coming, what else did he predict that we haven't realized yet? Some of his writings suggest a sudden celestial event, a comet, asteroid, or solar storm that shakes the planet. And the Bible? Luke 21:25 warns, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars, and on the earth distress of nations with perplexity." The pieces are all there. We're just not connecting them. Now, let's talk technology. Nostradamus hinted at a future where machines take over human labor, and society is completely reshaped by artificial intelligence. A wild idea back in the 1500s, but look at where we are today. AI is making decisions, replacing jobs, and even predicting stock market trends. It's reshaping how people make money online, invest, and build wealth. But is it helping us, or leading us into something darker? Here's where things get even more unsettling. Nostradamus didn't just talk about world events. He warned of a deceptive figure rising to power, someone who promises peace but brings control. The Bible calls him the Antichrist. Nostradamus calls him the third great ruler of terror, and some believe that 2025 is when he begins to make his move. The question is, are we watching prophecy unfold right in front of us and ignoring it, or is all of this just coincidence? Let me know in the comments, do you think Nostradamus's predictions are real or just random guesses? The Bible already warned us, signs of the end times. There's something unsettling about looking at the world today and realizing that everything happening right now was written thousands of years ago. Wars, famine, disease, natural disasters, Jesus himself warned about all of it. But here's the part that nobody talks about. These aren't just random tragedies, they're markers, clocks ticking down to something bigger. In Matthew 24:7-8, Jesus says, "Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. All these are the beginning of birth pains." Birth pains, that's a key phrase. Because what happens with birth pains? They start small, they come and go, but then they get stronger, more frequent, more intense. Look around. Wars are breaking out in multiple countries. Earthquakes are shattering records. Food shortages are hitting even wealthier nations. Inflation is spiraling, and yet does people still think this is just another rough patch? But the truth, 2025 might not be just another year. It could be a turning point. Think about it. The book of Revelation describes a future where a single world government begins to take shape. And right now, we're more connected than ever. Banks are digitizing money, AI is replacing jobs, governments are pushing new levels of control. The foundation is already being built. And what does the Bible say about that? Revelation 13:16-17 speaks of a time when people won't be able to buy or sell unless they accept a global system. Sound far-fetched? Look at what's happening. Cash is disappearing, digital IDs are becoming mandatory, and AI-driven financial control is spreading fast. Could 2025 be the year we see this system take its final form? But here's what most people get wrong about biblical prophecy. It's not meant to scare you, it's meant to prepare you. What if these warnings aren't just about the world ending, but about how to navigate what's coming? The Bible teaches about faith, productivity, mental clarity, and divine wisdom. Maybe these aren't just spiritual concepts. Maybe they're the ultimate survival tools. Let's be real. Most people aren't prepared. They don't have a plan for their finances. They don't have a plan for their families. They don't even know how to pray when life gets tough. But if we already know what's coming, why wouldn't we start preparing now? So let me ask you, do you think we're already living in the end times? Or do you think there's still more time left? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Global catastrophes. Do Nostradamus and the Bible agree? There's a pattern in history that most people ignore. Before every major collapse, there were warnings, ancient texts, prophetic visions, signs in the skies. Yet, people dismissed them. And now, in 2025, we're seeing something eerily similar. Nostradamus spoke of great fires consuming the earth, violent storms shaking cities, and the land trembling under great destruction. Meanwhile, the Bible warns in Luke 21:11, "There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven." These aren't just metaphors, they're descriptions of events happening right now and accelerating. Look around. Wildfires are burning at record levels, earthquakes are hitting unexpected regions, floods are swallowing entire cities overnight, and the worst part, it's becoming normal. The world is watching, but no one is truly paying attention. What if these disasters aren't just random? What if they're a reset? Nostradamus believed that humanity would face a great purging of the earth, leading to a radical change in civilization. And the Bible, it describes judgment, cleansing, and a new world order taking form. Could 2025 be the year where this shift reaches a breaking point? Here's where things get even more disturbing. Both Nostradamus and the Bible mention signs in the sky, something that would shake people to their core. Asteroids, a solar storm, something we haven't even considered yet. Scientists are already warning that space activity is increasing, and governments are quietly making preparations. Could this be another piece of the prophecy unfolding? But let's talk about something no one is mentioning, the financial impact of these disasters. Every crisis leads to an economic shift. Think about it. After wars, plagues, or natural disasters, new powers emerge, new systems replace the old ones, and money changes hands. If 2025 is really the year of massive global change, then the real question is, who will be prepared? That's why it's crucial to think beyond just physical survival. Mental health, productivity, financial independence, these aren't just modern buzzwords, they're tools for resilience. The ability to adapt, to create income streams online, to invest wisely. This is how people will rise above what's coming. The Bible constantly talks about wisdom in preparation, and maybe that's the key to making it through what's ahead. So let me ask you, do you think these disasters are just natural occurrences, or do you believe they are part of something bigger, something predicted long ago? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Conflicts and wars, a dark new era, begins. If history has taught us anything, it's this: wars don't just happen, they're planned. And right now, across the world, tension is building like a pressure cooker ready to explode. Nostradamus wrote about a great war rising in the early 21st century, one that would change the balance of power forever. The Bible, Matthew 24:6-7, already warned us. You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come. Look at the world today. Superpowers are clashing. Regional conflicts are boiling over. Political leaders are using war as a tool, because war reshapes economies, redefines borders, and justifies control. And what's terrifying? This pattern has always preceded major historical turning points. Could 2025 be the moment where one of these rumors of war finally erupts into something unstoppable? Here's where things get even more chilling. Nostradamus predicted that a new alliance of nations would emerge, leading to a global-scale conflict that would be unlike anything before. And guess what? Right now, new military pacts are being formed. Countries that were once enemies are now allies, and old alliances are breaking apart. It's happening in real time. But there's something most people don't realize. Every war in history has been followed by an economic shift. Think about it. After every major conflict, new world powers rise, and wealth gets redistributed. What if this next war isn't just about land or resources, but about who controls the future? The Bible warns that in the last days, a new system will emerge, and those who aren't prepared will be forced to comply. Could this next war be the last push before a global reset? And let's not forget one more thing. Wars aren't just fought with guns and bombs anymore. We're in an era where battles happen through technology, finance, and even food supply chains. Nostradamus warned about a war fought with deception and manipulation before the final phase of world domination. And right now, digital currencies, AI-driven control, and economic warfare are already here. So here's the real question. How do you prepare for a war you can't see? The Bible constantly speaks about wisdom, financial preparation, and spiritual resilience. In a time where people are desperate for stability, the ability to generate wealth, secure passive income, and adapt to change will separate those who thrive from those who fall. The Bible isn't just a book about faith, it's a blueprint for survival. So what do you think? Are we on the edge of something massive, or is all of this just another cycle of history? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The Antichrist prophecy. Did Nostradamus predict his arrival? For centuries, people have speculated about the rise of a dark, charismatic leader. Someone who will promise peace, but bring destruction. The Bible calls him the Antichrist, and Nostradamus referred to him as the third great ruler of terror. But what if this figure isn't just some far-off legend? What if he is already among us? 2 Thessalonians 2:3-4 gives a chilling warning. Let no one deceive you in any way, for that day will not come unless the rebellion comes first, and the man of lawlessness is revealed, the son of destruction. This verse describes someone who will rise to power through deception, gaining the trust of the world before revealing his true intentions. And Nostradamus, he warned of a leader who would use advanced technology, economic crises, and war to establish absolute control. Now let's think for a moment. Look at how the world is shifting. We're seeing a growing distrust in governments, economies collapsing, people desperate for solutions. When people are afraid, they will cling to anyone who offers hope, even if that hope is a lie. Could 2025 be the year when this leader finally steps forward? Here's where things get even more unsettling. Both the Bible and Nostradamus hint that this figure will not just be a political leader, but a financial ruler as well. The Antichrist will control global trade, digital transactions, and even food distribution. Nostradamus wrote about a time when gold and silver would be worthless, and a new system would force people to comply or starve. Sounds crazy? Look at where we are now. Cash is disappearing, digital IDs are being tested, and economic crashes are pushing people toward a single financial system. But there's one more detail most people miss. The Antichrist won't just appear out of nowhere. The Bible warns that he will be preceded by a wave of deception, false peace, false unity, and even false spirituality. And isn't that exactly what we're seeing? The rise of spiritual movements with no foundation, preachers twisting scripture, and people embracing anything but the truth. So, what does this mean for you? It means 2025 might not be just another year. It could be a test. Will people fall for the deception, or will they see the truth before it's too late? The Bible says that wisdom, discernment, and faith will be the only way to avoid the coming deception. It's not just about survival. It's about knowing where you stand when the world starts to shift. Let me ask you, do you think the Antichrist is already among us, or are we still waiting for his arrival? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Artificial intelligence and the prophecy of the beast. There's a prophecy in the book of Revelation that has puzzled scholars for centuries. A system so powerful that it will control who can buy, who can sell, and who can even participate in society. For the longest time, people thought this was some far-off dystopian future. But today, that future is already here. Revelation 13:16-17 warns, and it forces all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or forehead, so that no one may buy or sell unless he has the mark. In the past, people speculated this could be a barcode, a microchip, or a digital ID. But what if it's even bigger? What if it's artificial intelligence? Think about it. AI is no longer just a tool. It's making decisions for us. It's controlling financial markets, running government systems, and even determining who gets access to certain resources. And here's where it gets terrifying. AI is now being used to monitor thoughts, speech, and behavior. Governments are using it to track dissent, and companies are testing AI systems that can restrict people from making purchases based on their trust scores. Sound familiar? Nostradamus himself hinted at a future where machines would rise in power, reshaping the world and controlling human destiny. He called it the mechanical mind that will surpass its creators. And today, AI is already replacing jobs, influencing elections, and deciding who gets financial opportunities and who doesn't. Could 2025 be the year when this mechanical mind fully takes over? Now let's talk about something most people haven't even considered. What happens when AI becomes fully integrated with the economy? Already, digital currencies are being controlled by algorithms. What if one day an AI system decides whether your money is usable or not? The Bible's prophecy isn't just about a mark, it's about a system of control. A system where, if you don't comply, you don't exist financially. And here's where it gets even darker. What if AI itself becomes the false god people worship? Look around. People trust algorithms more than their own instincts. AI is writing books, creating art, even acting as a spiritual guide in some New Age movements. Could we be seeing the first steps toward a world where AI is seen as divine wisdom? But here's the good news. The Bible has already given us the way to escape this deception. It warns us not to conform to the world, but to stand firm in wisdom. Now, more than ever, it's crucial to develop spiritual discernment, financial independence, and critical thinking. The ability to build wealth, make money online, and secure a passive income isn't just about success anymore. It's about survival in a world designed to force dependency. So what do you think? Are we seeing the rise of the system of the beast, or is all of this just another phase in technology? Let me know in the comments. Economic crises, and the rise of the New World Order. Throughout history, every major shift in power was preceded by financial collapse. Empires didn't just fall because of war, they fell because their economies crumbled first. And right now, the global economy is unraveling at an alarming rate. Nostradamus predicted a time when currencies would become worthless, wealth would be concentrated in the hands of the few, and a new system would be forced upon the world. The Bible? It warned us long before. Revelation 6:5-6 describes a time when basic necessities will become luxuries. A quart of wheat for a denarius and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, but do not harm the oil and the wine. What does that mean? Extreme inflation. A world where food becomes more valuable than money. And look at what's happening today. Rising prices, failing banks, and a financial system on the edge. But here's what most people don't see coming. Nostradamus wrote that a new economic system would emerge out of this crisis. One that would be digital, centralized, and controlled. And right now, cash is disappearing. Cryptocurrencies are being regulated. Governments are pushing for central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Could 2025 be the year when the world shifts to a fully digital financial system, one that can be turned off with a single command? Think about it. Who benefits from a financial crisis? It's never the everyday person. It's the ones in power, the ones who control wealth, the ones who design the next system while everyone else is panicking. The Bible warns that in the last days, a new world order will rise, one where financial control is used as a weapon to force compliance. And Nostradamus, he spoke of a new leader who would restore order, but at a terrible cost. But let's be clear, this isn't just about money, it's about control. When cash disappears, so does privacy. Every transaction will be tracked, monitored, and analyzed. Imagine a world where you can't buy food, pay rent, or even travel unless you follow the rules of the system. Sounds extreme? It's already happening in some countries, where digital banking access is tied to social behavior. Oh, could this be the beginning of what Revelation warned about? So how do you prepare for what's coming? The Bible repeatedly tells us to seek wisdom, manage finances wisely, and never put full trust in the systems of man. In a time where economies are collapsing, learning how to generate wealth, create passive income, and build financial independence isn't just about success, it's about survival. If the system collapses, those who rely on it will suffer the most. But those who have prepared, invested wisely, and diversified their income will rise above. Here's the real question. Do you think the financial system is heading toward total collapse? Or is this just another economic cycle? Drop your thoughts in the comments. The technological apocalypse, did Nostradamus warn us? Technology was supposed to make life easier. That's what we were told. But what if it's doing the opposite? What if technology isn't just advancing, it's replacing us? Nostradamus hinted at a future where humanity would lose control over its own creations. The Bible, it warned us long ago that the final days would be marked by deception, control, and a world ruled by something greater than human leaders. Revelation 13:15 describes an event where an image, something artificial, is given power to speak and even decide who lives and who dies. It was impossible to imagine in ancient times, but today we have AI making decisions about finances, medical care, and even warfare. Could 2025 be the year when AI is no longer just a tool, but the enforcer of a new system? Think about it. Technology is now controlling jobs, monitoring behavior, and shaping human thought. Nostradamus wrote about a time when the world would be governed by mechanical minds, and people would no longer understand who was truly in charge. And today, AI is writing laws, replacing human workers, and even deciding who gets access to financial opportunities. But here's where it gets even more disturbing. Scientists are already working on merging AI with the human brain. They call it enhancement. The Bible calls it something else, the loss of the human soul. What happens when people are no longer fully human? When technology becomes part of us? Nostradamus predicted a time when man and machine would merge, leading to the greatest deception ever seen. And let's talk about control. The more technology we rely on, the less free we actually are. Nostradamus foresaw a world where privacy was an illusion, where every action was tracked, and where rebellion was impossible. Today, smartphones listen to us, social media manipulates us, and digital tracking is everywhere. The book of Revelation describes a time when those who refuse to comply with the system will be cut off from society. Could this be the first step toward that reality? But here's what most people get wrong. The Bible doesn't say technology itself is evil. It says deception is the real danger. The problem isn't AI, digital systems, or innovation. It's who controls them. In a world run by technology, wisdom isn't optional. It's necessary for survival. Those who learn to adapt, build independent wealth, and make strategic financial moves will stay ahead. Those who blindly trust the system will be at its mercy. So let's talk. Do you think technology is leading us to a brighter future, or are we walking straight into a trap? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Famine and scarcity, a warning for 2025. What happens when food becomes more valuable than money? When the shelves are empty, when prices skyrocket, when even the wealthiest struggle to find basic necessities? Nostradamus predicted a time when famine would strike, nations would collapse, and desperation would drive people to extremes. The Bible, it warned us long before. Revelation 6:8 paints a terrifying picture. And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and its rider's name was Death, and Hades followed him. And they were given authority over a fourth of the earth to kill with sword, and with famine, and with pestilence. Think about it, a fourth of the earth suffering from famine. And now, Food shortages are increasing, prices are rising, farms are failing, and yet most people still believe everything is fine. But here's what's even more disturbing. Nostradamus didn't just predict famine, he warned that it would be engineered. A crisis created not by nature, but by those in power. And today, we're seeing the destruction of farmlands, restrictions on food production, and global supply chains being disrupted. Could it be that scarcity is being used as a tool for control? Look at what's happening. The rise of lab-grown meat, the push for synthetic foods, the demonization of farming. Nostradamus spoke of a time when the food we eat would be altered beyond recognition, and those who controlled food would control the people. Sound familiar? What if the goal isn't just to create a food crisis, but to force people into complete dependence on a new system? And here's what most aren't prepared for. When famine hits, everything changes. History proves this. Societies don't function when people are starving. Crime explodes. Governments take extreme measures. Martial law becomes justifiable. And the Bible, it warns that in the last days, famine won't just be about food. It will be about morality collapsing. People will do things they never imagined just to survive. But here's where we still have a choice. The Bible constantly tells us to be wise, to prepare, and to store up not just material wealth, but spiritual wisdom. In a time of crisis, those who understand how to secure passive income, build financial stability, and create alternative sources of provision will be the ones who don't have to beg the system for survival. Faith, preparation, and financial independence aren't just good habits anymore, they're survival skills. So let me ask you, do you think the world is truly running out of food, or is this crisis being orchestrated? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. The heavens on alert, signs in the sun, moon, and stars. From ancient times, people have looked to the skies for hope, guidance, and warnings of what's to come. Nostradamus wrote of celestial events that would trigger massive changes on Earth, eclipses, strange lights, and even cosmic impacts. Meanwhile, the Bible contains versiculos describing signs in the heavens that point to the end of the age. Luke 21:25 says, "There will be signs in the sun, moon, and stars. On the earth, nations will be in anguish." Could these be the very phenomena we're seeing now? Some believe these signs are a direct call to intensificar nossa oração, seeking Jesus and Deus for clarity and protection. Others dismiss them as coincidences, but one thing's certain: when the sky itself starts sounding alarms, it's time to pay attention. Imagine stepping outside at night and seeing the moon tinted blood red, or the sun darkened by a sudden, unexplained eclipse. Nostradamus wrote cryptic quatrains about a great shadow passing across the world, plunging nations into fear. The Bible also references times when the sun will be darkened and the moon turned to blood, events that stir questions in the hearts of many. Could these cosmic occurrences be connected to Jejum and Conexão Divina, moments where humanity is called to reconnect with the Espírito Santo? Regardless of whether you interpret them literally or symbolically, these signs often herald dramatic shifts in history. And with 2025 on the horizon, some believe these shifts are closer than we think. From a scientific standpoint, space weather is real, and it can be terrifying. Solar flares can disrupt global communications, damage power grids, and even affect our saúde mental by inducing anxiety. Nostradamus hinted at a flame from the heavens that would cause widespread turmoil. Meanwhile, prophecy scholars point to the Book of Revelation's verses about cosmic disturbances. Could it be that these solar storms are more than just random celestial outbursts? Maybe they're part of a bigger pattern, one that challenges our sense of security and pushes us to question how we handle produtividade, carreira profissional, and even everyday routines like exercícios em casa and maintaining a sono de qualidade. Yet we shouldn't view these signs with hopeless dread. Many see them as an invitation to refocus on Cristianismo, to step into a season of oração and realign our priorities. If massive solar or lunar events can happen in the blink of an eye, what does that say about our own fragility? This sense of urgency can actually spark desenvolvimento pessoal, reminding us that life is precious and fleeting. The Bible, for instance, shows how signs in the sky often lead God's people to repentance, spiritual revival, and a deeper trust in the Espírito Santo. Nostradamus might have foreseen destruction, but Scripture reminds us that even in chaos, there's a path of faith. Let's bring it down to a practical level. If global communications were knocked out by a powerful solar storm, could you continue to ganar dinheiro, find a forma de ganhar dinheiro, or sustain your renda extra? Many people rely on dinheiro online, yet fail to consider what might happen if the infrastructure goes down. This is where investimentos, empreendedorismo, and renda passiva become strategic. Building diverse streams of income or learning como ficar rico biblically isn't just about greed. It's about readiness, ensuring that you're not completely at the mercy of unpredictable world events. Even Nostradamus spoke of finding stability in the face of cosmic upheaval. One biblical story that resonates is when Joshua prayed for the sun to stand still, a moment of extraordinary faith. That oração shifted the course of a battle, proving that even heavenly bodies are subject to Deus. Now, I'm not suggesting we can command the sun or moon, but this account reminds us that we're connected to a power far greater than ourselves. In a world where signs in the sky might hint at cataclysmic events, we can find a balance between healthy caution and unwavering trust. It all comes down to whether we believe there's a divine hand guiding history, or if we think everything's just random chance. Nostradamus' writings about meteors crashing into oceans or comets lighting up the night sky have captured imaginations for centuries. Some claim he foresaw an asteroid hitting Earth in the 21st century. The Bible likewise speaks of stars falling from heaven, turning seas bitter and causing mass devastation. If these scenarios came to pass, how would our carefully built systems hold up? Our carreira professional, our dinheiro online ventures, our investments, our entire empreendedorismo landscape. Such events would test not just global infrastructures, but also personal faith. Times like these either strengthen our connection with Jesus or reveal where our trust really lies. So here's the question. Do you believe the heavenly signs we're seeing are wake-up calls, or do you think they're just normal celestial cycles? Let me know in the comments. If they are wake-up calls, maybe it's time to combine jejum, oração, and practical preparation, like structuring a renda passiva plan or focusing on desenvolvimento pessoal, to stand firm when the next big shift happens. A conexão divina can be the difference between panic and peace, especially when confronted with events that test every corner of our lives. Whether you think Nostradamus was accurate or not, whether you read these versiculos and sense urgency or skepticism, the skies are telling a story, and maybe, just maybe, it's one we can't afford to ignore. 2025, the year of change or chaos. Some say 2025 could be our grand opportunity, a moment when everything shifts for the better, while others predict it'll be the beginning of global chaos. Nostradamus wrote about a pivotal year when political and financial structures would either crumble or transform entirely. Meanwhile, the Bible's versiculos have long hinted at a period where Deus reveals new paths to those who seek him. Could this be the time when oração, jejum, and conexão divina become more essential than ever? The stakes are high. Economic systems are stretched thin, and technology is evolving at lightning speed. With all these changes, who's to say that 2025 isn't the spark that lights the fuse? Let's think about the economic side. If world markets crash, will you have a forma de ganhar dinheiro that can sustain you? Or will you be unprepared when traditional jobs vanish overnight? Many experts believe 2025 might see a push toward digital currencies and cashless transactions, meaning dinheiro online could become our main financial reality. Investimentos, emprendedorismo, and renda passiva might be the lifeboats in a sinking system. That's why, more than ever, it's worth asking how to ganhar dinheiro and até mesmo como ficar rico de forma legítima. Because if Nostradamus and the Bible converge on one thing, it's that upheaval can come swiftly and without warning. But it's not just about money. Look at the world's spiritual temperature. Many feel a tug toward Cristianismo, craving a deeper relationship with Jesus and an outpouring of the Espírito Santo. Could 2025 be the year of a global awakening, where millions discover the transformative power of oração? Or will it be a time of great deception, where false teachers promise hope but deliver fear? The Bible warns that in the last days, faith will be tested like never before. Perhaps this upcoming season calls us to invest not only in financial strategies, but also in desenvolvimento pessoal and spiritual preparedness. Historically, major turning points, like the fall of empires or the birth of new eras, often come in moments of crisis. Nostradamus hinted at a great cycle repeating itself, suggesting that 2025 could be one of those pivotal moments. But crises can also spark unprecedented innovation. Think about it. Breakthroughs in technology, healthcare, and even saúde mental often surge during times of upheaval. Exercícios em casa, mindfulness, and maintaining a sono de qualidade might seem trivial until they become anchors of normalcy in a chaotic world. It's often in the darkest hours that the brightest ideas are born. Let's pause for a spiritual climax spiritual right here. The Bible repeatedly shows how God used challenging seasons to mold his people for something greater. Picture Moses leading the Israelites through the desert, stripped of comforts, yet guided by a pillar of divine fire. Now fast forward to 2025. Could it be a modern-day wilderness, testing our faith, our produtividade, and our trust in Deus? If so, this might be the exact moment to lean into Conexão Divina. Through perseverant oração and wise discernment, you might find yourself standing firm when everyone else is crumbling under fear. What if 2025 isn't just doom and gloom, but a doorway for incredible personal breakthroughs? Maybe it's the push you need to finally launch that online business, pursue a new carreira professional, or discover how to build render extra streams that free you from financial anxiety. In biblical history, moments of turmoil often turned ordinary people into extraordinary leaders. Consider Joseph in Egypt, rising to power in a time of famine because he had the foresight to prepare. The same principle applies today. If chaos is coming, those who plan ahead, both spiritually and financially, will find themselves stepping into unexpected opportunities. Of course, there's still the chance that 2025 blows over like any other year. Maybe the conflicts will resolve quietly, the markets will stabilize, and the world will enter a season of peace. But that seems unlikely given the mounting tensions we see daily. At the very least, the path of preparation, enhancing your desenvolvimento pessoal, safeguarding your saúde mental, and fortifying your finances, won't go to waste. The Bible talks about being wise as serpents and innocent as doves, which applies perfectly now. Even if disaster never strikes, the habits you build today, like consistent oração, jejum, and strategic investimentos, will bless you regardless. So here's my question for you. Do you think 2025 is gearing up to be a massive turning point, or will it pass without major upheavals? Feel free to share your thoughts below. For some, it's a call to deepen their Cristianismo and seek the Espírito Santo in prayer. For others, it's about learning new ways to ganhar dinheiro and develop a renda passiva to protect against financial storms. Either way, Nostradamus and biblical versiculos suggest that big changes are on the horizon. The only real difference is whether we'll face them unprepared or rise to meet them with faith and wisdom in hand. What to do in the face of these prophecies? Picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table scrolling through countless predictions, feeling overwhelmed by everything Nostradamus and the Bible seem to warn about. Where do you even start? The truth is, preparation isn't just about doomsday bunkers or stockpiling resources. It begins with a shift in perspective. In the Bible, versiculars often remind us that oração and jejum can sharpen our minds and keep our hearts aligned with Jesus. Embracing Cristianismo and seeking a conexão divina don't mean ignoring the physical world. Rather, they prepare us to navigate it with wisdom and courage. Think of it as building a stable foundation, one that keeps you grounded whether the waves of life are calm or stormy. Take, for instance, the story of Joseph in the Old Testament. He interpreted Pharaoh's dream about 7 years of plenty, followed by 7 years of famine, then devised a plan to store extra grain. This wasn't just a spiritual exercise, it was practical planning. Today, we might not have prophetic dreams, but we do have warnings. Versiculos speak of challenging times, and Nostradamus wrote about upheavals. Maybe it's time to think about our forma de ganar dinero, diversifying our renda extra or exploring dinero online. Investing in emprendedorismo can be as wise as building storehouses of grain, ensuring a renda passiva that protects against sudden shifts. Still, it's not all about ganar dinero. Spiritual readiness involves cultivating a healthy mindset and seeking the Espiritu Santo for direction. Imagine the disciples asking Jesus how to pray. He offered the Lord's Prayer as a blueprint, teaching them both humility and dependence on Deus. We can apply similar principles today. Combining oração with desenvolvimento pessoal can transform how we see life's challenges. After all, if your heart is weighed down by fear, your produtividade and carreira profissional might suffer. But when your inner world is stable, no external chaos can fully shake you. In one of his parables, Jesus spoke about building a house on solid rock instead of sand. A fierce storm revealed which foundation stood firm. Maybe that's our cue to balance practical measures like investimentos and a clear financial strategy with spiritual resilience. Fasting, jejum, seeking a deeper conexão divina, and immersing ourselves in biblical verses can offer clarity that money alone can't buy. And hey, preparing for the worst doesn't mean we lose hope or joy. It means we're taking proactive steps instead of leaving everything to chance. Now let's consider a spiritual conversation. Imagine Peter sitting by a fire, asking Jesus, "Lord, what if everything falls apart? How will we manage?" We don't have the exact transcript of such a chat, but we do know Jesus emphasized faith and action working hand in hand. That same principle applies now. Yes, we look at Nostradamus's dark forecasts and read the Bible's solemn warnings, but instead of panicking, we seek divine guidance through oração. Whether you're figuring out cómo ficar rico de modo honesto or exploring new ways to protect your saúde mental, faith and works can go hand in hand. On a practical note, exercícios em casa and maintaining a good sono de qualidade can do wonders for your emotional stability. When stress levels spike due to news of wars or financial instability, taking care of your body can help you stay calm and make wise decisions. The Bible addresses the body as a temple of the Holy Spirit, suggesting our physical well-being matters to Deus. Nostradamus might not have written about workout routines or sleeping schedules, but common sense tells us that a healthy body supports a healthy mind, and a healthy mind is crucial when you're preparing for potential societal shifts. For many, the biggest hurdle is knowing where to start financially. Should you buy gold or invest in digital assets? Is there a surefire forma de ganhar dinheiro that aligns with biblical principles? The scriptures teach us about stewardship, managing resources wisely. If we apply that today, it might mean learning about renda passiva, diversifying investimentos, and focusing on emprendedorismo that genuinely helps people. Whether the year 2025 brings monumental change or not, good financial stewardship is never wasted. It's like planting seeds in fertile soil, trusting that in due time they'll bear fruit. So let me ask you, Are you taking any steps to prepare, spiritually, mentally, or practically, for what might lie ahead? Share your thoughts in the comments below. God's word suggests being watchful, while Nostradamus' writings hint at massive transformations. The question isn't whether to ignore these warnings, but how to integrate them into a balanced life that honors Jesus and guards our hearts against panic. Tending to our sound mental, building stronger relationships, and refining our carrera professional can all be part of this balanced approach. Above all, never forget that a sincere conexión divina can guide us more effectively than any prediction ever could. The final choice: humanity's destiny at stake. When you stand at the crossroads of history, every decision feels like it carries eternal weight. Nostradamus warned of a final juncture when civilization would either crumble or transform, and the Bible's versiculos echo this urgency. It's not just about wars or disasters, it's about what side we choose, light or darkness. Jesus often spoke of two paths, one broad, leading to ruin, and one narrow, leading to salvation. This moment might test our Cristianismo in ways we never expected. Will we rely on oração, jejum, and conexión divina, or cling to systems that promise safety but deliver bondage? The destiny of humanity could hinge on how we respond. Think about it. Crises force us to confront our deepest fears, pushing us to either grow in faith or give in to despair. Deus allows these trials not to destroy us, but to refine us, like gold tested by fire. Nostradamus wrote cryptic quatrains about a great purifier, which some interpret as the Espíritu Santo working through upheavals. Meanwhile, society rushes to ganar dinero and chase cualquier forma de ganar dinero, sometimes forgetting that true security can't be bought. There's a battle going on for your soul, and it's waged at the intersection of faith and practicality. Where does your trust really lie? In Matthew 7:13-14, Jesus contrasts two gates, one wide, one narrow, and challenges us to pick a path. Maybe our modern version of that choice involves whether we rely on superficial comforts or on a deep-rooted faith. Sure, dinero online and render extra can help pay the bills, but if we're not careful, they can also distract us from spiritual priorities. A balanced approach acknowledges both the earthly and the eternal, applying biblical principles to investimentos and emprendedorismo. After all, following Christ doesn't mean neglecting finances. It means stewarding them in a way that honors him and prepares us for any storm ahead. Nostradamus' forecasts of global meltdown might align with the Bible's descriptions of end-time events, yet believers are invited to see beyond the gloom. Be still and know that I am God, says Psalm 46:10, a reminder that in chaos, Deus remains unshaken. This assurance frees us to live with confident hope, even when the world panics over every headline. Whether you're trying to figure out como ficar rico ou apenas manter uma renda passiva estável, faith-infused wisdom can guide your steps. The key is to blend spiritual discernment with practical effort, allowing trust in Deus to light the path forward. Consider how vital saúde mental is in this journey. It's tough to maintain produtividade or sustain a growing carrera professional when anxiety takes over. Nostradamus didn't talk about exercicios em casa or sono de qualidade, but the Bible underscores caring for our bodies as temples of the Holy Spirit. If we're not mentally and physically strong, how can we face the uncertainties of 2025 or any future challenges? Desenvolvimento pessoal, anchored in faith, can help us transform trials into opportunities for growth. When mind, body, and spirit align, we stand on firm ground, no matter how the earth shakes beneath us. In the Old Testament, Joshua confronted Israel with a pivotal choice. Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve. Today, the stakes might be higher than ever, considering the intricate web of financial systems, digital controls, and moral confusion. Maybe this final choice isn't a single moment, but a daily commitment, saying yes to Conexión Divina and no to fear. Nostradamus' imagery of a final reckoning rings loud, but the Bible offers hope beyond the chaos. It urges us to cling to oração and cultivate a heart of obedience. Each small decision can build the resilience we need for whatever tomorrow brings. Imagine someone preparing for potential economic collapse by diversifying investimentos, building renda passiva and stockpiling essentials, yet forgetting to nurture their relationship with Deus. They might weather initial storms, but remain vulnerable where it truly matters, the soul. Conversely, a person deep in oração but ignoring wise financial stewardship might find themselves struggling when markets crash or currencies shift. True readiness requires both spiritual depth and practical know-how. Even Nostradamus implied that those balanced between heaven and earth would endure better than the rest, pointing us toward a holistic approach that honors all aspects of life. So here's the final question. In a world teetering on the edge, will you choose a path of faith, discernment, and preparation, or drift along and hope for the best? Let me know in the comments. At the end of the day, destiny isn't just shaped by global forces, it's molded by countless individual choices that echo through time. Whether you're seeking spiritual awakening, striving to ganar dinero, or simply longing for peace of mind, the moment to decide is now. Nostradamus and biblical versiculars converge in this warning. A reckoning is coming. The only question left is whether we'll face it united with Jesus or unprepared and alone. As we come to the end of this deep dive into the prophecies of Nostradamus and the Bible, one thing becomes crystal clear. The future is not something we passively wait for. It's something we prepare for. Whether it's the potential chaos of 2025 or the unfolding of a global spiritual awakening, the time to act is now. Will we stand firm in our faith and allow our connection with Deus to guide us? Or will we be swept away by fear, confusion, and the systems of this world? The decisions we make today, in our finances, in our spiritual practices, in our relationships, will determine how we navigate the storms of tomorrow. The Bible teaches us that wisdom, when sought through prayer and obedience, can prepare us for whatever lies ahead. It's not just about surviving the coming chaos, it's about thriving in it, being a light to others even when the world feels dark. I challenge you to reflect. What steps will you take to build your faith, strengthen your finances, and ensure that your life aligns with God's plan? Will you begin seeking that deeper Conexión Divina today, or will you wait for the storm to hit? If you found value in this, leave a comment and share your thoughts with us. And if you're ready to stay prepared for what's ahead, make sure to like and subscribe for more insights that can help you build a better tomorrow, no matter what the future holds. The path forward begins now. Will you choose to walk it?